Now I have 4 of you here, right? 4 of my half-brothers and sisters. And you flew all the way, a long way. And this sweet brother said, I want to buy your lunch. And I was just like, my big brother wants to buy my lunch. That's so awesome. And he goes, you pushed me off the nest, but I'm buying your lunch anyway.
I'm no longer the baby.
But don't you all agree? I think you'll all agree with me that family is everything. It's everything, why we're here, what we're about. Family is so important. And how wonderful, just absolutely wonderful you have been so accepting and loving and kind and good. And you're just a crazy bunch. And I love that you're so fun and we can all just say, you know what, life is life. Let's just enjoy it and celebrate the love we have for each other. It is true that as a little girl, my mother sometimes would take me to the Provo Park. Remember when the Provo Park down there had that great big white pavilion in it? How many of you remember that big white pavilion in the Provo Park?
I've seen that.
Oh, I played on that all the time and waded in the little creek that was over by the side. And then sometimes when I was playing in that park, I would see daddies with their little girls, and little girls always wore dresses in those days. And they would pick their little girls up and then fly them up in the air and catch them, and their little petticoats and everything, and fly them up and catch them. And I used to just watch. And I would just say, oh, I just wish I had a dad. Oh, a big dad, big guy that would throw me up and catch me. And you know, that's a big memory for me as a child, is that desire. And when my mother was going to have me, she decided to have me up in Salt Lake. And the man she was married to was home from the Army on leave, and he didn't know Salt Lake. And he was trying to drive all around in Salt Lake to find the hospital, and he didn't. I was born in the car. In December. No kidding. And he ran in to get the hospital to help, came out, opened the door, and I went bloop, 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 right out into the snows of Salt Lake.
What day of December?
December 12th.
28.
So anyway, you know, these to know, and I never knew James Ingalls at all. He wasn't in our life. And my mother took her 4 children, and she did all she could to raise us the best as she could. And this part is not about judgment, it's not about anything but happiness and love and family. And I just so appreciate your being so kind to me. But I did have a great childhood in Provo, Utah, and I did have a wonderful uncle that baptized me when I was 8. They came and got me when I cut my arm because I was home alone, and the blood was kind of going bloop, 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 bloop. And I called Uncle Stanley and I said, please come and get me. I'm trying to be brave, but there's this cut. And he goes, oh, it's okay, it's all right. So then blood got all over the bathroom, you know, and I was like, Uncle Stanley, please come and get me. Please come and get me, because now there's blood everywhere. And he's like, I think I'll go get her. And so they took me to that wonderful doctor that had his little clinic right in his home in Provo. And they stitched out my attempted suicide. No, but I was a little girl playing with the on the window panes at our house. It was all steamed up, and it was Christmassy and fun, and I was there like this, and I was home alone, and I thought, let's see, 1, 2, because you know how your hand doesn't get all of it down, and I always left a little ring right here, you know, in the print of the steam on, and I thought, I'm going to make that go away, and I pushed my hand right through the pain. So all the fun things we did and all the things that happened to us as we grow up, I always had that little empty spot. And then when I was about 14, my mother married a wonderful man, Roy Wilson, and we moved to Orem, and I had a kind of sort of family, and it was just, I went to junior high and high school and graduated in Orem Tiger. And then I met my first husband and married right out of high school. And boom, 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 I had 9 kids. 6 of them were boys, and that counts double. So they were rowdy boys too. And so I was busy. I was so busy raising my family. And at one point, my children said to me, "How come we don't have grandparents? Why don't we ever see grandparents?" And I was like, "Well, that just hasn't worked out for us. But I'll tell you what, if you could only have one wish, it was either for your children to have wonderful grandparents or for you to get to have wonderful grandparents, but you couldn't have both, which would you take?" And they said, "Well, we kind of want it for our kids." And I said, "I can do something about that. I can be the best grandma on the planet, at least attempt to, and I can do something about that." And then as the years went by and I had to leave that marriage, it was a very hostile, bipolar, manic depressive kind of situation, and I had to take my 9 kids and go. I wasn't happy about that, but that's what happened. It's life. And then I imagined, since I had a handicapped daughter and 6 rowdy boys and these beautiful daughters, that I would just be raising my family alone until Mr. Amazing walked in, which was incredible, because who would take that on? Especially, my little girl has to be hand carried like this. She's 46 and has the development of a 2-month-old baby. So he said, I don't care. She doesn't look like she'll ever talk back to me or anything.
And she never has.
That's awesome. And so I have this wonderful partner who is way better grandpa than I am grandma. So life goes on. We have such a great journey. And I got these balloons because one's super smiley because I'm super happy to have a wonderful family. And this is kind of like the welcome home, right? And best of all, thank you. That's why it's the top. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being so loving and buying my dinner. So, so
I just wanted to say one thing. Larry donated his DNA. And,
Yeah. I was going to say that too.